Right, so the next manoeuvre we're looking at is parallel parking. Now, it used to be called parallel parking. You might also hear it referred to as reverse parking. Okay. Now, we're going to be demonstrating this in a car park. We're still in the same Tesco's car park as we did with our other parking video. But the examiner will ask you to do it at the side of the road. So the reason we're doing it in the parking space is so that I'm not interrupted whilst we're filming, okay? But I will get you to practice it whilst we're in the car park and on the side of the road, okay? Just need to remember that the examiner is only going to ask you to do it at the side of the road, okay? So you'll be driving along, the examiner will say to you, if you could just pull over before the next vehicle ahead, okay? You would use the mirror signal manoeuvre routine before moving over to the side of the road. So you check your centre mirror, your left mirror, and then you would only signal to benefit the actions of others. Okay, so if there was nobody there to see your signal or benefit from it, please don't signal. You need to move over to the side of the road. Don't get too close to the side of the road. You want to be approximately a steering wheel's distance away from it, but you don't want to get too close to the vehicle ahead of us as well. So we want to be about 2 to 3 car lengths behind it. Now the reason for that is it will give us a better angle to steer at, to go round it, and then to reverse back. Okay? When you're at the side of the road, the examiner will say thank you. He will then explain to you exactly what he wants you to do. Okay? So he'll say something along the lines of, the vehicle ahead is the one I would like you to reverse park with, please. Okay? And if you could try and avoid hitting the curbs whilst turning. He'll then say drive on when you're ready. Okay? So just to get this into our head, we would be about 2 to 3 car lengths behind the vehicle immediately ahead of us, and we will have a curb immediately to our left that's approximately a steering wheel's distance away from the side of our left hand side of the car. Okay, so we're going to use the prepare, observe and move routine to move up alongside the side of the vehicle. Now the vehicle that's parked ahead of us, we want to be to the right of it obviously, but we want to be at least a door's width away from the nearest part of that car, which obviously is going to be on our right hand side. So the difference between the parked car here and where we're going to move up alongside has got to be a door's width. If you imagine there might be somebody parked in the car that's directly ahead that you haven't noticed, as you move up alongside that parked car they might try and get out. Okay, you have to be a door's width away. Okay, it's also quite important that you go a little bit past the actual parked car. Don't pull up alongside it as if it was a parking space. Okay, so if the car is parked there, we want to be slightly further ahead of it. Now the reason for that is it will allow us a little bit more of a run up, because we don't ever want to turn the steering wheel whilst the car is stationary. Okay, it does quite a lot of damage to the vehicle. Okay, and there is an action possibly of maybe losing control of the vehicle. Okay, so the examiner's now said to us drive on when we're ready. We're going to start the car in our usual way. If we turned it off, if we didn't turn it off, there's obviously no need to start the car. Okay, it's into first gear up to biting point. We do our usual prepare, observe and move. Now, because the car is parked directly ahead of us and the curb is on our immediate left, the biggest danger is over here, so we're going to be checking that right hand side blind spot. Again, signal if it benefits others, if it doesn't, don't worry about it. Now the moment we move forwards and pull up alongside that car, if we're going to be interrupted we must stop. Okay, you can never reverse the car backwards towards oncoming people, traffic or motorbikes or cyclists. Okay, you must stop. It's your responsibility to stop. Okay, so good look around. And then you're just going to drive the car forwards, and what you're trying to do is generate an S shape so that you move up alongside the vehicle that's parked next to us. Like I say, get us nice and straight, approximately a door's width away from the side of the vehicle and just past it. Now just as a rough guide, again clutch down, brakes on, handbrake neutral, just as a rough guide, your door mirror on the left hand side should be past the car that you're going to be reversing back behind. Okay, again the reason for that is it gives us a bit of a run up. Alright, so as we now go backwards again into reverse, the blind spot we need to check last is our left. Again, as we're reversing, we release the handbrake, we must be looking out the back window. Okay, so biting point on, checking all the way around, all around to the left. It's safe to reverse backwards, so we go backwards until our back seat, so there are four spots in the window, the last window by the back seat. Make sure that those spots are behind the car before we start to steer. And again, we must check our blind spot before we start to steer, because as we steer to the left, okay, you want to steer really briskly to the left, everything it will do. As you steer to the left, the front of the vehicle begins to swing to the right. And it's the same situation again, every car length you check your door, you check your blind spots. Now, when the kind of the B pillar, which is where the passenger kind of seat belt is, okay, so not the blue spots but somewhere between that and the passenger headrest, when that lines up with the corner of the car, it's time to start to steer in the opposite direction, and you steer one turn until the airbag comes down between your knees. Okay, again, constantly looking backwards and forwards, looking backwards as we reverse backwards. And then when the blue spots get to the middle of the car, again you steer to the right, and again you want to steer absolutely everything it will do. And that now brings the front of the car back around, and you'll also notice that we're approximately a steering wheel's distance away from the curb. It's at that point you steer again, one turn round, keeping the airbag between your knees. You now know that the car is straight, and then use small corrective measures just to make sure that you stay approximately a steering wheel's distance away from the curb. Now, you don't want to go back any further than 2 car lengths from the vehicle that you've just reversed against, okay? That's the criteria. Again, secure the vehicle in the usual way, relax your feet, and then the examiner will say thank you. I won't ask you to do that again. Drive on when you're ready. So you would get the vehicle ready, clutch up to the biting point, you would finish your observations over your right hand side, you would signal if it benefits the actions of anybody. Well, there isn't anybody, so I won't signal. And then you just drive off, steering the same amount, creating the same S shape to get past the parked vehicle on the left hand side by approximately a door's width. And then you just maintain your course, centre mirror, left mirror to come back to the curb, and then you're off driving again. Alright.